today we are going to practice a little bit of listening in Portuguese. So it's important that you understand the context of the dialogues, the conversations we are about to hear. Look at the whiteboard. What you see is a man and a woman in front of a coffee shop. First, coffee shop in Portuguese can be translated as café, café, a coffee shop, café, a coffee shop, or uma cafeteria, a coffee shop, uma cafeteria. Cafeteria, café, are possible translations for coffee shop. But remember that café is also the beverage in Portuguese. So, café, the beverage, or café, a coffee shop, the place. But cafeteria means coffee shop only. Uma cafeteria. It's feminine, while café is masculine. Alright, so that's the context. This man and this woman are in front of a coffee shop. It says it's open, aberto. Aberto means open. And they are deciding if they are going to get inside it to have a coffee together. And they decide to come in and have a coffee. So that's the context. As you see, I haven't written yet the dialogues because I want you to grab yourself a cup of coffee now, or a cup of tea, or a hot chocolate, whatever, and enjoy the experience of listening without subtitles, please. Listening. my dog. Well, enjoy the experience of listening to a dialogue in Portuguese, knowing the context, okay? First, without any written subtitles, any written words. Listen first. Then we are going to see the dialogue written, to study it in detail a little bit, and to see the vocabulary, some grammar points. But first, I want you to have a listening experience, okay? So I'm going to make a little theater for you. So I'm going to be both of the characters. I hope I am able to be a good actress. So let's see. Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço. Vamos entrar. Ah, vamos. Eu tô com fome. Alright? I'm going to read it again. Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço. Ah, vamos entrar. Vamos. Eu tô com fome. Right. Now I'm going to write the dialogue. Here. Você conhece esse café? Você conhece esse café? Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço. Não, não conheço. Ah, vamos entrar. Vamos entrar. Vamos. Eu tô com fome. I'm going to read it one more time Now, I'm going to be more informal, more realistic. Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço. Ah, vamos entrar. Vamos. Tô com fome. Again, one more time. Você conhece esse café? Não, conheço não. Ah, vamos entrar. Vamos. Eu tô com fome. Alright? You see, I'm going to show you how I transform this into a more realistic Portuguese. Se instead of você. Not always we say se only. We can say você and se, and both of them are okay. But I just used se for you to know that that's a variation very often used. Você conhece esse café? Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço. Oh, não conheço. Instead of saying no, I said não. When we have a verb, and I'm going to tell you what it means. Conheço means to know. When we say in English the verb to know, we can have the verb saber or conhecer. Conhecer is the case here. So I'm not going to talk about the other option, saber, but conhecer is to know a place, to know someone, okay? Do you know this coffee? No, I don't. Do you know this coffee? Você conhece esse café? No, I don't. Não, não conheço. So, before the verb conhecer, conheço, conjugated, I said não instead of não. That's something that really happens a lot. We transform não into num, 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 before verbs. So again, você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço. Sometimes we also add a second não. I'm going to write in another color. Let's leave this green. I hope you can see. I can use a green that is a little bit darker, so you can see it better, perhaps. Se, num, num, num. Sometimes we add another não here. Não, não conheço não. Não, não conheço não. We love negatives. Não, não conheço não. I can say, olha, não conheço não. Or, não conheço. All of these options are possible. Você conhece esse café? Não conheço. Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço. Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço não. Okay? That's how we say the negatives. But before, only before verbs that we can transform não into num. You cannot transform, change the pronunciation to num in this place here or in this place here. Only before verbs. Only before verbs. Okay, this one is very far from a verb. It's just the answer. Você conhece esse café? Não. And I can only say não. But if I add the verb, você conhece esse café? Não conheço. I can use num because I have a verb there. Alright, so that's the question. Do you know this coffee shop? Or this coffee? No, I don't. Não, não conheço. Não, não conheço não. Okay? Vamos entrar. So I hope you can understand the meaning before I say what it means. Vamos entrar. Let's get inside. Let's go. Let's get inside. Vamos entrar. Vamos is like let's go, let's get inside, something like this. And we say much more than oh. Like in English, you say like oh, let's get inside. Oh, but we prefer to say vamos entrar. Okay, is much more Portuguese, and oh, it's much more English. So again, você conhece esse café? Não conheço. Vamos entrar. Vamos. Tô com fome. You see, we can say vamos instead of vamos. Vamos, 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 instead of vamos. And here the same thing, vamos. That's another secret. Or I used again the light green. I'm going to make it darker here. Let's make it again. So, vamos entrar, vamos entrar. Let's get inside. Instead of saying, vamos entrar, that's too formal. It's like a book speaking. Vamos entrar. No, we actually say vamos entrar. Vamos entrar. Oh, but it gets prettier when we use both, right? Like this. Vamos. The same thing here. When we use the verb vamos, let's go. Let's do something. We can say only vamos. 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 Without the S. Vamos. Vamos entrar. Vamos. Tô com fome. So remember, eu estou com fome is the formal way of saying, but actually we would say tô. Eu tô com fome. Eu tô com fome. Tô. I can omit this eu here, okay? Because tô is certainly for the first person I. So what does it mean? Let's get inside. Let's go. I'm hungry. Eu tô com fome. Você conhece esse café? Again, let's make it again. Você conhece esse café? Não conheço. Vamos entrar. Vamos. Tô com fome. Okay? A little dialogue with real life Portuguese, the most realistic I could show to you. And I'm going to make more dialogues in this in this coffee shop, okay? Essa cafeteria. I know that cafeteria is not, it's a false cognate, right? It's not the same meaning in English. Cafeteria in Portuguese is coffee shop. So let's listen to more of their conversations. Let's keep studying the dialogues, okay? Before we move on, I want to tell you that I forgot to mention that in this sentence here, vamos entrar. Also the verb entrar that has a letter R at the end, entrar or entrar, entrar. We can pronounce this letter R in many ways, but actually it's easier. We don't pronounce it when we talk. We just cut it off and it becomes like entrar. Vamos entrar. It happens with many verbs in the infinitive. The verbs in the infinitive in Portuguese, they have a letter R at the end. And we simply cut them off. Cut the letter R and just say like entrar, beber, conhecer. Instead of entrar, beber, conhecer. That's very common. You must feel safe. You just cut off the letter R and pronounce it as entrar. Vamos entrar. And you are going to sound like a native, okay? It's a good Portuguese for talking because when we say entrar with the letter R, it sounds too formal. Some people pronounce this letter R when like they are in a lecture, in an academic situation, in some formal situation at work. But it's more formal. If you pronounce the letter R, you're going to sound more formal. Know that. If you just want to talk with someone in an informal way, you cut off the R and say entrar, comer, beber, dançar, cantar. Any verb, you can cut off the R of the infinitive and pronounce it, stressing the vowel at the end, like entrar, beber, comer, dançar, cantar, conhecer, okay? Vamos entrar. So I'm going to read it one more time. Você conhece esse café? Não, não conheço não. Vamos entrar. Vamos. Tô com fome. Alright? Vamos entrar. And one more thing. I said we could use those nouns in many ways. With all of them, like, não conheço não. With only one, like, não. Você conhece esse café? Não. Okay? You can use only the verb with the noun. Você conhece esse café? Não conheço. Or, não conheço não. But also, in some places of Brazil, the northeast, nordeste special, I'm not sure which places in Brazil, all of them, but in many places of Brazil, they can also use only the last one. Você conhece esse café? Conheço não. Conheço não. It's like a noun at the end. That's more regional, okay? It sounds more regional to us, but it's another possibility. So that's it. Let's continue the dialogue, the practices of listening to dialogues.